Good evening. We'll call to order this meeting of the Gahanna City Council for Monday, February 3rd, 2025. If you would please stand and join me while Vice President Weaver delivers the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
We gather, we are grateful for, appreciate, and use each day that comes before us. For each day's duties and in each day's difficulties, we are challenged to give our best always in service to one another and to our community. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Bowers.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
McGregor.
Here.
Padova.
Here.
Renner.
Here.
Schnetzer is absent, and Weaver.
Here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda this evening? All right. Hearing none. Ms. Jones, I will turn over Section C, presentations, to you for introduction.
Thank you. So we are in Black History Month, and we wanted to take an opportunity to present a joint resolution and proclamation to Jewel Woods, who is the founder and clinical director of the Male Behavioral Health and the Center for Boys. Some folks might say, okay, what does that have to do with Black History Month? But having taken a look at the website and some of the information that Mr. Wood shared with me today, mental health is something that I'm passionate about and is something that particularly impacts men and boys of all races, but definitely within the Black community. So Black History Month seemed fitting to recognize Mr. Woods and his work. So Mr. Woods, we will come down for a photo and then turn the mic over to you for remarks. But thank you for being here today and for the work that you do for all men, but particularly within the Black community. So colleagues and Mayor Jadwin, if you'll join me. At some point.
You're all on that side, so I'll go on this side today, because I'm not Janelle, so.
Really? I get to hold it in my tummy, right?
I coordinate with you, so.
All right. Right here. 3, 2, 1.
Excellent. Thank you.
Wait, one more.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Oh, all right.
I ran this draft by my 14-year-old on my way here, so I believe we are in good steading. So good evening. First, I want to thank Councilmember Jones for the honor of recognizing the work we do at Male Behavioral Health and for the invitation to participate in this Black History Month recognition. As mentioned, my name is Jewel Woods, and I'm the founder of Male Behavioral Health and the Center for Men and Boys. I also teach graduate level social work at the University of Michigan and occasionally write for Psychology Today. I share this brief biological information not to test anyone's allegiance to the scarlet and gray, but rather to situate myself as a professional in the behavioral health field and to emphasize my deep commitment to addressing the mental and behavioral health needs of men and boys. With that in mind, I'd like to begin by sharing my responses to 3 questions that Councilmember Jones was kind enough to ask me. I will then connect these responses to the broader importance of Black History Month, particularly in the year 2025 and the years to come. The first question that Councilmember Jones asked was, what inspired you to focus on men's mental health and create male behavioral health? My answer to this question was that I was inspired to focus on men and boys' mental health because society is either ignorant or indifferent to the struggles of men and boys. Ignorant as reflected in the fact that men and boys experience some of the worst mental and behavioral health outcomes in society, In Franklin County alone, males account for 71% of overdose deaths, 79% of suicides, 79% of homicides, and 74% of motor vehicle fatalities. Indifferent revealed in the fact that despite these staggering statistics, very little specialized knowledge, training, or resources have been dedicated to addressing the unique mental health challenges of men and boys. As a result, their needs remain overlooked and continues to grow. It is this gap in care, awareness, and intervention which has driven my work, and my goal has been to develop targeted, effective, and ethical support that supports the needs of men and boys. The second question that Councilmember Jones asked was, what are the common misconceptions about men's mental health that you'd like to challenge? My answer was, there are many misconceptions about men and boys' mental health, but perhaps the most pervasive is the belief that they experience behavioral problems rather than true mental health challenges. This misconception leads to a damaging cycle where men and boys are more likely to be punished for their struggles rather than supported in addressing them. Instead of recognizing the underlying emotional distress, anxiety, or depression that may manifest as aggression, withdrawal, or risk-taking behavior, society often responds with disciplinary action rather than therapeutic intervention. This not only reinforces stigma, but also prevents many from seeking or receiving the mental health care that they need and deserve. The third and final question that council member was kind enough to ask was, what one key message would you share with men and boys who are hesitant to seek help? And my answer was this. My message to men and boys is this: don't fall for the propaganda, what old folks would call the okie doke. Don't fall for the lie that talking about your feelings, struggles, or challenges is a sign of weakness. Understand that this is a bold-faced lie that is designed to keep you silent and suffering in isolation. Strength is not about suppressing pain, it is about having the courage to face it, to be the best version of ourselves, and for the people who we love and who rely on us. We must develop the insight and skills to navigate life's challenges. Strength comes from self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and the ability to seek support when needed. Taking care of your mental health doesn't make you weak, it makes you powerful. With these three responses, while these three responses are specifically focused on men's mental health, I want to submit to you that these same themes apply directly to Black History Month and is critical to 2025 and the years to come. I'll speak briefly about these three key themes: silence, suffering, and strength. On silence, just as the propaganda and stigma that are used to keep men and boys silent, similar tactics are used to silence the importance of Black History Month. Black History Month is not just DEI, just as men's mental health is not just behavioral problems. Being informed about Black history is not just being woke. Rather, knowledge of Black history is a prerequisite to understanding this nation's experiment in democracy. On suffering, just as silence leads to suffering for men and boys, ignoring history leads to collective trauma and suffering. We must acknowledge the profound suffering that many people, especially Black and brown communities, experience in a time of escalating inequality, the disintegration of key social systems, and a growing existential crisis of meaning and purpose in this society. Just as mental health neglect leads to self-destruction, ignoring systemic justice leads to a social disintegration. Finally, on strength. Just as strength for men and boys come from finding community, resisting isolation, and seeking support, strength in 2025 and the years to come will require finding allies, building coalitions, and engaging in good faith conversation. Black history has always revealed the importance of allies, those who are willing to stand for justice across racial, cultural, and economic lines. The truth is today, more than many days, we desperately need allies, Black, white, Latino, Asian, everyone of goodwill who are willing to engage in real conversation and bridge our differences. In conclusion, the reasons why we must pay attention to the mental health of men and boys are the same reasons why we must pay attention to Black history. Because ignoring either leads to despair, desperation, and decline. For me, I'm willing to partner with anyone who is committed to ensuring a brighter future for ourselves, our families, and our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Wicks, thank you. And you, I think, perfectly connected your work to Black History Month. And what I was trying to do all day to really sum up, why we invited you to receive this honor. And I think you did it perfectly. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from council colleagues this evening? We are very grateful for your presence this evening, your calls to action, and your reflection. Thank you so much, Mr. Woods.
It's a pleasure. Last thing I'll say is that both of my children are products of Gahanna school systems. My oldest daughter just graduated in December from Vanderbilt University, Gahanna Middle School South, loud and proud. And my 14-year-old, who's now at Bishop Hartley, is a recent graduate. So profoundly committed to this environment and actually working with the great folks at Gahanna Middle School South, currently with middle school male boys. So very much committed, and I thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. We appreciate it. All right. Moving on to Section D of tonight's agenda, hearing of visitors. Mr. Van Meter, were there any speaker slips or video comments?
None this evening.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We do not have any ordinances for second reading, so we'll just take a motion to approve the consent agenda as published.
So moved.
I have a first by Mr. Renner,
Second.
a second by Mr. Weaver, and is there any discussion this evening? No? All right, hearing none. Well, Mr. Van Meter, would you please call the roll?
Renner,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McGregor,
Yes.
Padova,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes. Motion carries and the consent agenda is adopted as published. Section F, correspondence and actions. Mr. Van Meter, we have 2 items under council clerk.
Thank you, Madam President. The first item is from the Planning Commission. This is to recommend for council's approval a change to Part 11 Zoning Code, Section 1117.10E1A. This is pertaining to required improvements of the codified ordinances of the City of Gahanna. Pursuant to charter, I did issue 30 days public notice on what will be known as Ordinance 0001-2025, corresponding to this item, setting a hearing date of March 3rd prior to a vote on its adoption. We do anticipate at Committee of the Whole on February 10th, there will be a brief presentation on the item. The second on the agenda is an Ohio Division of Liquor Control notice. This is pertaining to Brum and Wheel Enterprises, LLC, operating at 230 Granville Street, Gahanna. With respect to this item, there were no objections by the Gahanna Division of Police, so if there are no objections by council, I will sign and return the notice indicating no hearing requested.
Are there any comments with regard to this item or questions? And it's my understanding that this is for 230 Granville Street, which is the location of Third Base Pint House. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Van Meter. Thank you, Chief Spence. All right. I did have one item for correspondence under a council. I just wanted to bring to folks' attention. We did receive an email from State Senator Beth Liston introducing herself as she is the new state senator for Ohio's 16th district, which includes Gahanna. She included her email address and her office number so that we can make that available to our constituents or reach out to her if there's anything that she can do. I have asked Mr. Van Meter if he would include that email as part of the minutes so that we could reference that access and that introduction from State Senator Beth Liston.
Madam President, could you forward that to me as well, since I don't have that? That'd be great to have, so I can reach out to her. Thank you.
Sure, I'd be happy to. All right, any other correspondence actions from council colleagues? All right, thank you. Moving on to Section G of tonight's agenda, representatives. We'll start with Community Improvement Corporation from Mr. Renner, Mr. Renner and Ms. Padova. I know, old hat, I know. I was like, wait a minute.
I'm not used to being first here. So the CIC met January 28th, last Tuesday, for the first meeting of the year. The election of officers happened, and Betty Collins was elected president, George Morris the vice president secretary, and Jeff Kessler as the vice president treasurer. The next meeting will be on February 18th in the committee room, I believe. I'm looking at you, Mayor.
Correct.
Okay.
Committee, sorry.
New at
Yep.
this, apologies, but that's all for me.
Calendar, yes.
All right, very good. Anything else? All right. Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. No formal report this evening. More info should be coming soon in the next couple of weeks. I look forward to sharing more at that time.
Great, thank you, Mr. Weaver. Convention and Visitors Bureau, Councilwoman Padova again.
The Creekside Charity Chocolate Walk to benefit organizations of Give to Gahanna will take place on Saturday, February 15th from 2 to 5. There are currently less than 100 tickets left and more than a dozen businesses participating. So you can go to visitgahanna.com or on the Facebook event page to get your tickets for that. Again, that is February 15th from 2 to 5. Also, very excited to announce the annual Visit Gahanna's annual meeting will be on Tuesday, March 18th at 5:30 p.m. So it's a little bit different this year. They are doing kind of like a evening instead of lunch and having some dinner, and the speaker will be Roy Hall Jr., former OSU wide receiver and NFL player, also a Gahanna Lincoln football coach. So very excited to have him come and talk about the power of teamwork in our community. So get your tickets for that. They are not on sale, but they should be available next week. So you can go to visitgahanna.com to get your tickets for that. Again, it's March 18th at 5:30, and it is at La Nirvana. So look forward to seeing everyone there.
Thank you, Councilwoman Padova. Councilwoman Jones, school board report.
Just briefly sharing that myself and a few council colleagues, along with the mayor and administrative staff, had an opportunity to attend the State of the Schools last week. A variety of topics that were covered and were presented directly by the folks doing the work, which I really appreciated. But we covered everything from student success to educator empowerment, a lot about consistency and accessibility and communication, and of course, financial stability of the district as well. A recording should be available on the district's YouTube page. I was shared with hopefully tomorrow, so please take a look at that. And that's all for me.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Jones. Official reports, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. A couple of things to talk about tonight. First of all, thank you, Councilwoman, for lovely city events this past weekend. The event on Saturday, which was the safety talk with an informative presentation by our Division of Police, and the events on Sunday with the walk and the activities following up at the Herb Center. I think we're thematic of both strength and empowerment within our community. For me, it reaffirmed that Gahanna is a safe community in which to live, work, and play, that we have incredible officers who come to work every day to protect and guard our citizens. And it reaffirmed to me that as individuals, awareness is always key, no matter where we are, whether we're on a trail, whether we're at an event downtown Columbus, whether we're in a city maybe for the first time traveling. We always need to be attentive, and we need to be prepared. And being prepared is being educated and informed so that you have a plan and know what to do and how to react to that. It also gave a glimpse, I think, an opportunity for us to cross-promote some of the programs we offer all year long. So I want to just mention a couple of them. This Saturday, Lieutenant Kissel is offering his self-defense class from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Gahanna Senior Center. I actually have signed up for that once before and had to cancel because of a conflicting event that came up. Looking forward to doing that. But I know many people who have participated in that and said it's just fantastic. It's at the Senior Center. It's free. It's available to men and women. You have to be 18 and up. Again, free to register, though. One of the things we offer for the community. And then a month from Saturday, which would be Saturday, March 8th, Lieutenant Kissel, again, will lead a training class for CRACE. I think that's Civilian Response to Active Shooter Event. Is that correct, Chief? That will teach strategies, guidance on what to do if you are in a situation. But the class that Lieutenant Kissel, as he explained even over the weekend, is much more than just active shooter today. There are many things. Now we have to worry about cars being weapons when you are at events. So being in that situation, knowing how to respond, knowing techniques, being trained in that, I think are all key. So both of those events, free, 18 and up to attend. You can find information on both of those. If you go to the Parks and Recs page on gahanna.gov under programs and events, you can register there. While we're sort of talking about police, I will say that today we officially welcome Jessica Curry to our team. Jess is the mental health liaison from Centero. The council approved that actually, I think it was 2 years ago for the budget, and we are just thrilled to have her on board. I had an opportunity to spend some time with her this morning to share the vision for that role, some of the work that we have been doing in the mental health space, and to discuss some of the ideas that we have been talking about and how she can help to expand those opportunities and connections within our community. And it is fitting, Mr. Woods, that you are here tonight with your work in that mental health space as well. We can't wait to connect you with her to see what wonderful things that we can come up with in a collaborative way. So thank you for being here and for your work in that space. Senior Director Vollmer, as you might not have noticed, is unable to be here this evening. She's actually at a statewide conference. But on her behalf, I will share a thank you for everyone who's been participating in the Table Talk conversations. We've had great turnout for those. They're continuing to happen. And we still have 2 more opportunities for the community, we call them open table talks. Anybody in the community can sign up to attend those. Planning Next, our consultant leads those. The next one is tomorrow night, tomorrow late afternoon, from 4 to 5 p.m. And then next Thursday, February 13th, from 6 to 7 p.m., and both of those will be held at the Gahanna Golf Course Clubhouse. Again, you can register on gahanna.gov. And I know Councilwoman Jones, thank you for mentioning the state of the schools. I will mention also as an addendum one of the activities coming up next week. The schools will be hosting an event from classroom to career, and it's an opportunity for high school and middle school families and students to come in. It'll be in partnership with One Columbus. The city's a partner to that, as is the chamber. And it will be offered in conjunction with the Educational Service Center of Central Ohio. And they'll talk about the regional growth that we're seeing, economic trends that we're seeing, emerging careers that are now really developing in the future workforce, so that curriculum and career paths can be aligned to fill those future workforce needs. So that event is next Tuesday, February 11th, from 7 to 8 p.m. at Gahanna Middle School West. And you can find information on that, I believe, on the school's website. And then finally, the last thing I want to mention is the procurement fair we will be hosting in partnership with Ohio MBE and the Gahanna Chamber. That is on Thursday, February 27th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is the first time we have ever held one of those events here in Gahanna. We're very excited to be partnering again with Rhonda Watson-Barber and Ohio MBE to create an opportunity for our minority-owned businesses, our women-owned businesses, our small business community to connect directly with representatives of purchasing organizations so they can promote their offerings, learn more about upcoming bidding opportunities and work opportunities. Rhonda will actually be leading a workshop on the importance of MBE certification, the benefits of that certification. Kemba Financial Credit Union is helping us to sponsor that event. They will be present to offer a workshop on financial resources for small businesses as well. So very excited about that. Again, that's February 27th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Peak of Edison. And you can find event info and registration info at gahanna.gov. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. City Attorney Tim Larison.
Thank you. Just as an update from my office, we are working on the first round of annual review of general offenses code again. So going through the last few bills that were passed through the State House and the impacts that that has on our code and ordinances. So look forward to that in a committee meeting soon. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, City Attorney Tim Larison. Council comment. We will start with Councilwoman McGregor.
Nothing tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you. First, wanted to extend gratitude and appreciation to Council President Bowers for your leadership in organizing the Walk for Women this weekend alongside Officer Thomas, Visit Gahanna, and the countless others who made the weekend possible. And to everyone who participated, thank you for showing up and standing in solidarity. It truly was a cold but beautiful moment yesterday to really champion everyone standing together and raising our voices for an important issue and standing together. Thank you again to Mr. Woods for being here tonight and helping us to kick off Black History Month and for the important work that you do in the community. As I said earlier, with it being Black History Month, I was reflecting and, wanted to share that Black History Month carries an even greater urgency this year in particular. Across the nation, we are witnessing efforts to erase diversity, equity, and inclusion. values that are fundamental to a just and fair society. With these values being deemed radical and wasteful, we must recognize the real danger in dismissing the work that has opened doors for so many and helped to dismantle systemic barriers. Progress is not radical, it is necessary. Now is the time for action, and I urge each of us to engage, to support Black-owned businesses, to attend educational events, advocate for inclusive policies, and push back against the attempts to silence history and the progress that we are making together. We cannot allow Black history or any history to be rewritten, ignored, or devalued. So my hope this month is that we commit to being a community that upholds the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, not just in our words, but in our action, and not just February, but every single day. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jones. Councilwoman Padova.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Woods, for being here this evening. The work that you do is very important, and it's very much appreciated in our community here in Gahanna and also in Central Ohio. As Councilwoman Jones said, much better than I will, it is now more important than ever that we recognize the history of our country and the progress that we have made and the importance of not just maintaining but continuing that progress. So thank you so much for all of the work put into this proclamation, I think we have deemed it this evening. Also want to echo Councilwoman Jones's gratitude to President Bowers for all of the work on the events this weekend. The Women's Walk was really nice to just see so many people coming together and just standing together, walking together, being together in community and for each other. So thank you for everything, all of the work that you did to organize all of the events. And that's all for me.
Thank you, Councilwoman Padova. Mr. Renner.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Wood, thank you so much for being here on a Monday night. I truly learned more about your organization and the work that you do, and so thank you. I always appreciate learning some more. So, Councilwoman Jones, thank you so much for those comments. That was very apropos, and I don't think I can actually say anything more to that. There's an old Zen proverb that says, "Let go or be dragged." And last week I have had a very serious set of family events that has actually taken my time. And so I am sorry that I missed the premiere event this weekend, but I am very delighted that this activity is actually going on. So thank you very much, Councilwoman Bowers. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Madam President. Without sounding like a broken record, thank you, Mr. Woods, for being here and for your work and the service that you give to all of our whole community, one person at a time. So thank you, and I appreciated your comments, especially as Ms. Jones indicated, the way you threaded the work that you do with Black History Month and the importance of bringing that work forward every day. So thank you very much. Ms. Jones, thank you, as always, for another wonderful presentation and organizing of the joint proclamation and resolution. Ms. Bowers, great event. The walk was very powerful. It was truly amazing to see everybody coming together in solidarity. And I was very touched. My wife unfortunately was unable to attend, feeling a bit under the weather, but she shares the comments that it was a very powerful opportunity especially for women, and an important opportunity for women to reclaim the space, so to speak, and not live in fear. So thank you very much for that, and thank you, of course, to our wonderful Gahanna Division of Police Visit Gahanna, all of the attendees as well, the administration, of course, too. So thank you very much. I believe that is all for me this evening, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, before I forget, I want to make sure that I explicitly mention about how wonderful the diaspora performance was over the weekend, performed by Gahanna Lincoln High School African American Studies students, along with their creative directors, John L. Amerson, Keisha Whitfield, and Dr. Donja Thomas. They are an incredible force, and it was a really moving experience. So I am super grateful for that opportunity to have been there. I can't help but notice the contrast and perhaps maybe perception that between the Walk for Women sort of being uplifted and highlighting the need for women's safety in our community, and also Mr. Woods' comments reflecting the need, the unique needs that our men in our community need, our men and boys. And these things are not disparate, and they are not separate, and they are so deeply intertwined. One of the things that struck me over the weekend while we were offering, and I want to make sure to express my deep gratitude because the weekend really truly was a partnership with Gahanna Division of Police and specifically with Community Liaison Officer Blair Thomas, along with Visit Gahanna. But while the event was really geared towards women, one of the things that I noticed was that we need to also have these conversations with men. And so as I was getting feedback in real time especially from women and mothers who have daughters who are runners or trail users, one of the things that kept surfacing was that the boys need to hear these conversations too. The boys need to know how we need to count on them too, and how they need to count on us. And that there really is this collective responsibility for each other's well-being. And so while it is important, and I think that we can do both of these things, they're not mutually exclusive. We can lift up the fact that women are often victimized. We can also lift up the fact that men have unique struggles as well, and suffer a lot of stigma too. So I think that having these really, I'm so grateful that this moment kind of happened tonight because it gave an opportunity to reflect on this situation. So thank you all for allowing this to happen. I am really looking forward to a more comprehensive report on the Walk for Women weekend. It was an incredibly powerful experience, and I'm just speechless at this point. But we have some really phenomenal photos, and there was some great results that came out of the weekend's events. So I do look forward to presenting a more comprehensive report at a certain point in the future. I have also attached my constituent report for both months, December and January. I requested Mr. Van Meter to attach that to our minutes, and I have circulated that to council members, the mayor, and city attorney this evening. There was a lot going on those 2 months, and so I've tried to distill it into the majority of the bullet points with a few photos from the course of those 2 months. So hopefully that gives a light, peeks into the life of a council member, I suppose. And I believe with that, if there's nothing further, we'll adjourn this evening's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.